Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today on VW webinar. My name is Jeet, and I am your host for the session today. In this session, we have two tremendous speakers, Bas Cuperus and Joost Kuijlaars. Both have a consultant background, with Bas working as a marketing intelligence consultant for Invenna, a customer data platform company, while Joost runs his own agency called the Data Actors. Between the two of them, Bas and Joost have close to a decade of experience implementing personalization for fast-growing companies. And in this session, they are going to share some nuggets from the experience implementing those personalization strategies for those companies. They are going to share a practical roadmap that you and I could implement to deploy personalization on our digital properties. So if you have a website or web app or mobile app or anything in between, this session would be a good primer to understand how you can implement personalization. Bas and Joost, thank you. Bas and Joost, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to host you. And before I give the mic over to you, I'm going to turn my camera off so that the focus stays on you folks only.
Thank you, Ajit. Good afternoon, everybody. We are honored that so many people are attending this webinar. My name is Joost Kuijlaars. I'm founder of the Data Actors, a service and consultancy agency in the field of data-driven business. As a fresh econometrician, I started in the 90s in the data area at a mail order company. In that time, it was shopping by catalog. And I have been in the data business since then for several other branches, like retail, e-com, B2B, publishing, and fundraising. So data is in my genes. In this webinar, I want to convey my experience and knowledge on how to make data actionable, especially on the personalization subject.
Thank you very much, Joost, for introducing yourself, and thank you very much, Ajit, for your words. Good afternoon to you all. My name is Bas Cuperus. Unlike Joost, I did not set my first steps in data-driven marketing in the 90s, but just my first steps. I started my professional career a bit later, namely in 2017, and most of that period I'm working as a consultant for Invenna. So at Invenna, we deliver software solutions for marketing, the customer data platform, on which we will talk a little bit more during this webinar. We deliver solutions for IT and for compliance, in KYC and transaction monitoring solutions. Well, I'm mostly working on these customer data platform implementations, marketing automation projects, mostly adding data sources, channels, and all kinds of connections with relevant applications. So basically, I'm helping our customers to get the most out of their 360 degrees customer view. And that is an important condition for personalization. So my goal for today is like twofold. So first of all, I would like to show you how you can combine your online and offline data to enable you to do personalization on online channels based on the data you collected from both online and offline sources. And my second goal for today is to show you why a 360-degree customer view is important for personalization. So while I was preparing for this webinar, I was first searching for some personalization efforts that would be better off using that complete 360-degree customer view, and of course the corresponding business rules, to form a clear, uniform message. So I took two examples. And the first one is from a web shop. They sell a lot of different things, from merchandising to clothing and different music. It's a good personalization effort. It's an effort to reduce churn. They also use a product recommender at the bottom. And the churn effort is like a promotional code, which I can, which gives me 10 euros discount on my next spend. I only buy records at this store, and this is the only thing I bought. And you can also see it in the recommender, in the product recommender. And the sad thing is that this code is not valid on a recommended product, so they don't use all the information to personalize this properly. Well, the second example is sort of like It's a retention email. It's a reminder for my barber. They say like, hey, it's been 5 weeks since you've been here. Maybe you should come again. Which is a great effort, of course. But I already made a new appointment, so this causes a little bit of confusion. It's also not using all the information you have to personalize your effort, which is a shame and something we are talking about today.
Interesting cases, Bas. I think your barbershop has probably not connected his appointment system. But more important for the both cases, they are busy with some kind of personalization. I think you will get here the first poll for today. Please fill in, and I will continue with our presentation. From Gartner, we learned that on the personalization part, personalization is #1 priority for more than 50% of all marketeers. What Gartner says that they expect that 80% will stop with personalization in 2025 due to 2 reasons. First of all, the insufficient data management. We saw that in the cases. Second of all, the lack of return on investment. In this webinar, we will elaborate those both so you can become successful in personalization. Let us shortly take you to the agenda for today, starting with the definition of personalization, then following the subject on how to know your customer and using the customer data platform. Then we interpret the data paradox in relationship to personalization. Bas will take us through the tag manager use for web personalization, and finally we will end with the learning cycle. Let's start with the definition of personalization. The first part is of course about the person. Marketers are used to work on averages. But if you take the average Dutch guy, for example, Bas and I, you will get a guy with 1 brown and 1 blue eye. The average person does not exist in personalization. Each person has its own characteristics, interests, and motivation to do business with you, for you to find the right one. Second part of the definition is about the moment. It's not about the right time on the clock. It's related to the time in your customer journey or sales funnel. Is your customer just orientating, or perhaps ready to buy, or even just bought an item in your store? The message you will give him will differ per moment. The use of the channel is part 3 in personalization. Although we have an omni-channel customer, she or he will always have a preference to communicate with you or to do business with you. But not letting go the omni-channel, what is still one of the biggest challenges of most companies, where it's organized in silos. It stays important to make the customer experience consistent over the channels. And finally, to complete the definition, it's all about content. Content depending on the stage of the customer journey, on the customer interest, or even his behavior at your company. This content has to give value for the customer, like the recommendations in the example from Bas, which will finally give also value for you. And there we have the definition of personalization. Give the right customer at the right moment, by the right channels, the right content.
Absolutely. So in order to personalize and to make use of that right person, that right moment, that right channel, and the right content, we need information. So in this section, I want to elaborate on the role a customer data platform can play to extract and structure this information that we need in order to be successful in personalization. So we start with what is a customer data platform? How do we define it? The Customer Data Platform Institute states that CDP is packaged software that creates a persistent, unified customer database that is accessible to all other systems. Well, we can break this down into 3 elements, like the packaged software, the customer database, and the accessibility, and I will discuss like the latest 2. So First of all, we're talking about the persistent unified customer database. What is it? Well, the customer data platform creates a comprehensive view of each customer by capturing data from multiple systems. As you can see on the left hand in this figure, there are lots of different data points which capture customer data across across a lot of different systems. We've got first-party data in our own landscape, which is maybe a CRM system with personal and demographic data. We get data from the socials and from research, transaction from a transaction system, agreements and contracts, and maybe indeed online behavior. So a lot of different sources and a lot of different customer data, which maybe we can add some reference data from a second party to show movements, maybe some segment data from second parties. We have all this data over multiple systems, and we try to link that information related to the same customer and storing that information to track behavior over time. So there's a part of data integration. We validate this data, we clean it, all of these points, and we do some kind of identity resolution. Are we talking about the same customer? Is it a different customer? All these data sources should be combined to see that unique customer. Now, when we have that unique customer, we build a 360-degree view around him, on which we can perform insights and analytics, maybe some segmentation, even predictive modeling, and of course also campaign management and marketing automation, which is important for the personalization we are talking about. Well, the figure on the far right is the accessibility to all other systems. So the data we store in the 360-degree view can be used by other systems for analysis and to manage customer interactions, so that we can personalize on the website, for example, but also in our emails, in our DMs, etc. So yeah, that 360-degree view, that's necessary, because in the end we have a 360-degree customer view which provides us information on who is the right person, what does his or her behavior look like, and what are the subjects or products she is interested in. It provides us information on the right moment. Where is our customer in the customer journey? Where is he in the funnel? But also on what timings is there the most interaction, during the evening, or maybe during the weekends or working hours. Same for the right channel. On what channel do we have the most interaction with the customer, and which channels is used for gathering information by our customers, and which one for the purchase. So an example of that 360-degree view you can see here right now. So we combined information from lots of different sources. We can see some website visits, the purchases. They all come from different sources and are united in one 360-degree view, so that you can personalize on all available information. So I was wondering, I think we have the second poll right now. Do you have a 360-degree customer view, or are you trying to build one?
Thanks, Bas. Bert Jansen is a really rich profile. You can make a good personalization case on it, but that's not certainly for every customer. Let us take a simple model where Pareto still rules. Just a small part of all your customers are responsible for the main part of your revenue, or completely for your profit. Is it 20-80, 25-75, or 30-70? It's the small group of your total customer base. In the mid group will mostly provide revenue, and the bottom group, it's more the cost you a lot of money. On this pyramid, there are three main marketing strategies applicable, lead generation or prospecting on the bottom side, improving the lifetime value, and retention or to prevent churn. For the data, you will find the reverse pyramid, what is logical and creates the data paradox. A small part of your customers will generate the most data because they have the most contact with you, in your newsletter, on your website, with your contact center. With the majority group at the bottom of the pyramid, you will have hardly any contact, so just a small data set. For personalization, you really need the data, a lot of data to find patterns or to build AI models. These models or patterns will enable you to personalize and to apply automation to retrieve return on investment. Related to the name strategies, personalization is limited to the top of the pyramid.
Thank you, Joost. Yeah, my second goal for today, if you can recall it, was to show you how you can combine your online and offline data to enable you to do personalization on online channels based on the data you collected from both online and offline sources. So Joost was a bit telling about the data paradox. For a large group of customers and prospects, we have very little data. I would like to show you now from a, not really a technical point of view, but a bit technical, how to combine like those online collected data with the data from all your offline sources, and mostly how to boost this combination. I will focus on the incoming data from your website or web shop. And I will also show you how you can use a customer data platform, tag manager, and VWO combination to eventually do personalization on your website. So let me first show you how to get online data into the customer data platform and match it with the right offline customer. Between the website and the customer data platform, in the figure, you now see that a tag management system appears. And I would like to show you in this story how it helps us to combine the online and offline data. If I can get the next slide, Joost. Thank you. So what do we do with the tag manager? So essentially, we track website behavior on the website and store this behavior in different values. So that values can be visitors, sessions, and events, where the visitors are the unique, preferably first-party cookie that refers to a device, which essentially is a person. It's not 100%. But that's the thing, of course, with online data. Second one is events. That can be anything that you would like to track, from a page visit to a form submit, and even 75% scroll depth on your page to see whether someone read the article you provided on your page or not. And the third one is like a session, which is a key that groups all the events in one session. So if we make the right tags, we are able to do analyses that will help us to answer questions related to the right person, right moment, right content, etc. And there's a route from the tag manager to the customer data platform. We extract those data points and load it into the customer data platform. The other way around, we can also use the data in the customer data platform to send certain values to the tag manager, and from that we can write also again first-party cookie values on which you can personalize. A few slides later, I will show you exactly how this works, but for now it's good to remember that the tag manager delivers data to the customer data platform, but the customer data platform also delivers data to the tag manager. So back to the question, how do we match that online data from the tag manager with the customer data platform data coming from all offline sources? So essentially, we can do this in two ways. And the first one is quite obvious. Most websites a lot of websites use the possibility to with a login. So if someone logs in, we obviously know who visits our website, and we just have to put up a right data stream that provides the needed data to the customer data platform. So with a login, it's rather simple. But most people, of course, do not log in or are not logged in during the session. So there's another route which we can explore. And the second route is via clicks in, for example, email messages. Well, there we make use of parameters. Probably you already use them in email marketing. UTM tracking is one of the most famous parameters, and it's based on exactly the same principles. So let me explain this in the next slide. So today we all received an email from VWO with a link to attend this webinar. Well, that email does not have very much clickable links to the VWO website, so we only have to focus now on the joining link. And the joining link that looks like, if you press next, Joost, then we can see the. Thank you. So that number that we see in that URL is probably a unique combination between me as an attendee and a specific webinar. So this way, VWO can analyze my behavior during the webinar. Did I attend the full webinar? Did I interact during the webinar? What triggers for me? What triggers work for me to interact? And with this information, VWO can start with personalizing messages to me. What is the next interesting webinar based on my earlier attendances, and what type of triggers VWO can use to let me engage more during the webinar? What call to actions work best for me, etc. So what we can do in our email messages is to add a parameter which represents me. So VWO now made a unique link, but we can add a parameter to the URL to also make it unique. The tag manager that can get the parameter from the URL and send it to the customer data platform. The customer data platform knows that number that corresponds with me, and so it can enrich my customer profile with the web data from that session after a click. The last step is to make use of the data stored in the customer data platform to personalize the website. So we can make personalization values like a next best action or a next best offer in our customer data platform based on all the information we have on the customer, and send them to the tag manager. The tag manager that stores these values in a first-party cookie. And maybe if you can click a few times more on the slide. Yeah, exactly. So the tag manager stores this value in a first-party cookie, and VWO can read out that cookie and based on the value, personalize the web page. So in our customer data platform, we know that my email address corresponds to a certain ID, which we added as a parameter in your URL. If someone clicks on that email link, we got now the combination between the visitor ID from the tag manager and the parameter we created in our customer data platform. So we know this person corresponds to this web ID and this visitor ID. And based on if someone comes in with that web ID or with that visitor ID, we can write a first-party cookie value, for example, a string with churn risk high, next best offer is X, and newsletter subscriber is 0. So based on those values in that string, we can build the logic in VWO to eventually personalize the web page. So my second goal was to show you how to combine your online and offline data to enable you to do personalization on your website. And this is how that essentially works in most cases. Next up, Joost is going to tell you everything about how to make that data actionable in this talk about the learning cycle.
Great, Bas. Technically, everything is possible. To succeed in ROI-driven personalization, you have to realize it's a long-term process of connecting data to execution, or as we define it, making data actionable. First, you have to collect all contact data with your customers and connect it to one single customer view. Bas showed us how. Focus on the contact points which are most likely to be used and drive conversion and revenue. The second part of the learning cycle is to analyze the data and create insights to find patterns, or by human interpretation or by using AI. But at the same moment, you have to challenge your marketeer to use his gut feeling and guts to find potential use cases which improve the customer experience and therefore increase your revenue. Next step, logically, is to test the ideas and looking for confirmation of the interpretation of the insights. Run the test in the most relevant touch points for A/B testing and where marketing automation can be used. And do not forget to prove that the test generates an uplift in your return on investment. And finally, if you have a successful test, you have to scale it up, the test, to other relevant segments, channels, touch points, ensuring your customer the best and consistent experience across all channels. At this moment, you will create your flying wheel to improve your sales, obviously, and really improve your return on investment. So give me a simple example of one of our cases. For kitchen equipment e-com, we added in the first step metadata for products, and in the second step analyzed the win-back campaign for the former top customers. This campaign was losing its effect on the churn. We discovered that for a substantial part of the churn did buy products of a specific brand. In the last month, no product of that brand was offered in a win-back. So in our win-back case, email was the most effective channel, and we decided to do two tests. One by adding just one product of the brand from the win-back portfolio, and beside a test where the email was more in look and feel of that brand. The single product test yielded a plus of 10%, and the look and feel test yielded an uplift over 20% and was a significant improve of the ROI. For our kitchen equipment e-com, the look and feel campaign was also applied to landing page and recommendations. And finally, the whole approach improved the ROI on this group for more than 50%. So you see that the return on investment is improving, not just doing the test, but also to extend that test to the other channels and other contact points at the customer journey.
Great, impressive numbers, Joost. Yeah, the key takeaways for today. I try to make clear at least that the full body of information, the 360 degree view is necessary for personalization, so that you have information on who's the right person, what's the right moment, what is the right channel. So when we can remember the examples, which are good efforts in personalization, but they don't use the full potential of all the information scattered around the organization.
Yes, the second takeaway we will give you is to analyze and make use cases with focus on the most effective data points and execution. Realize it's a long-term process with successes and of course also failures.
Absolutely, and yeah, the first key takeaway is to make use of parameters. So like you remember the web ID as a parameter in the URL in every moment of contact. So it gives you the possibility to match your online data streams with your offline data. And that is important to enrich, first of all, the customer profile with website behavior, interest, and it gives you, secondly, the opportunity to personalize web pages.
And the final takeaway for today. We didn't discuss literally, but it's essential. Personalization is a process which concerns all your departments, not only data, not only marketing or online or email. It's cooperation of all together to get the best results. That was on our part, this webinar. Do we have questions?
Yes, we do. Thank you, Joost and Bas. That was an interesting presentation, and I would also have to congratulate you that out of all the people who joined during the beginning, from the beginning of the webinar, I see that 80 to 90% of people have still stayed till this point. Okay, so that's a massive number. Normally, we don't tend to see that many people staying till the end because people get different ideas, they get hungry, or they go to the kitchen to fetch water and they end up staying there only. So, this is a great, great number that I see. You have managed to engage them till the end, and we love it at BWO. Now, with regard to the question, we have got one question from Gaurang, and he had asked that how do we find customer DNA? So I think at one point, and I particularly love that question, and I would also have the same question. At one point, I think you guys talked about customer DNA. How do we find customer DNA? So do you have any recommendation there? As a company, how can I effectively find my customer's DNA?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, first of all, I would say just combine all the sources that that have customer data in them to a central point. So make the customer your focus, and model your data around that customer. So when you combine all those sources that we discussed in the presentation, we've got quite a clear view on who's the customer, what drives him, etc. Yeah, mostly combine those in all those sources to find the relevant information. Okay. Maybe Joost can say something from an organizational perspective on that. But
no, what I can say is that you don't have the customer DNA all at once. It's also a process where you start to gather and start gathering insights and improving those insights as a kind of learning process.
So, Joost, let me clarify this. When you say insights, are you referring to quantitative data that we can gather from all these analytics tools and marketing stack? When we say insights, could you give us shine some light on it? Maybe explain it a little further.
Can you repeat it, please?
Yeah. So when you say insights, yes. Are you referring to just quantitative insights or the quantitative insights that we get from marketing stack like analytics or our email platform and so on and so forth? But what more are you referring to when you say insights? Like how can we gather more insights about customers is what I'm asking.
Now the way you get more, it's about what Bas described, but what I was telling is it's more for your marketeers to understand what the target groups are. So you start with social demographics if you have them, and finally all content data you will have about that customer. So it's not in detail, but you have to use a little bit abstracted data from that. So, for example, we use for several companies, we are using taxonomies. And taxonomies are related to the way it can provide added value for the customer and added value for the company.
Okay. Okay. Right. Yeah, and also at BWO to gather apart from quantitative insights, the other medium that we use internally to gather qualitative data about customer, which could be used for a lot of people, is session recording, heat maps, and so on and so forth. Do you guys have an experience using them, Bas, using these tools to gather insights about customers?
You mean heat maps on your website? So where do people click the most? Well, it's an interesting one. I haven't used them yet because it's mostly for web analyses in order to see how your website performs. But they could also be quite useful maybe as customer data. Though we have to say, of course, all the events, furthermore, you can trigger. I don't know whether I really have to think about the added value of a heat map to all that other events and see whether that's useful for further personalization. But it's good to take it in consideration, I think. Yeah, I
agree with that, Bas. I think it has to do to build up your DNA, your customer DNA, and if it's adds some value for your improving your return on investment.
Right. Great. So I think that's the question that we had. I don't see any other question. I'll still give 30 seconds more. Okay, 60 seconds more to our audience. If you have any questions, now is the time to ask. If you don't ask any question, we'll assume that you understood this presentation so much that there's no question at all. So now is the time to ask questions, and the best question is going to get a free pizza from us. Okay, we'll deliver it to your address. So we'll give 30 seconds more. Okay, TikTok, nothing. Okay, cool, no problem. You guys have you know how to reach out to Joost and Bas. The email address is on the screen. You can record it and you can reach out to them later on after this presentation. And finally, thank you so much for joining this webinar, and thank you, Joost and Bas, for for this wonderful session. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate time of everyone who is part of the session right now, and thank you from VW. All the best. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your attention, and thank you very much for moderating this session, Ajit. And thank you, Joost, for also sharing your knowledge.
Thank you, Bas, for the cooperation. Thank you, Ajit, and have a nice afternoon. Bye-bye.
Yes, okay.